2 months after the U.S. Capitol attack, investigations are still underway. How North Texas is involved. And spring break is just around the corner. Instead of the beach, we have more interesting and sandy destinations.
Denton's third fire station is close to being up and running soon. I have the story.
Broadcasting live from the University of North Texas, this is ntTV Nightly News.
Thanks for joining us on ntTV Nightly News. I'm Nathan Mayer.
And I'm Kayla Holt. The rollout of COVID vaccines continues to grow. The federal government is shipping an additional 900,000 doses of Pfizer and Moderna vaccines to states and pharmacy partners. This will bring the number of doses to more than 16 million this week. President Biden ordered the pharmacy program to prioritize teachers and childcare workers. Another 16 million doses are expected to be shipped by the end of the month. And with the additional shipments of the COVID-19 vaccines, Texas will soon release the next eligible groups for the vaccine in Phase 1C. State health services say the agency could have an announcement as early as next week, but did not provide additional details. The CDC's recommendation for Phase 1 includes the following groups: people 65 to 74 years old, people 16 to 64 years old with underlying medical conditions, and other essential workers including transportation or food service workers, information technology, energy, law, media, or public safety employees.
For many, spring break is a time of relaxation while taking vacations. But with millions of people still not vaccinated, health officials are concerned we could see another set of COVID-19 in the United States.
After a year of being cooped up, many may be eager to seek solace in a spring break trip. It's exactly what some officials and public health experts are concerned about.
We are very worried that there's going to be a convergence of people here and a real problem in the aftermath.
In favorite destinations like Miami Beach, cheap flights and discounted hotel rooms are making the area even more appealing despite the pandemic, forcing some leaders to brace for what may come.
It's really the bars and those other kinds of gatherings that might become the kinds of super spreaders that I think we saw a year ago.
The CDC has made its position clear.
Avoid travel, crowds, and poorly ventilated spaces.
The agency says travel increases your chance of getting and spreading COVID-19 and recommends staying home to stay safe. If you must travel, the CDC says to get vaccinated if eligible and wait 2 weeks after a second dose. Get a viral COVID test 1 to 3 days before travel and keep a copy of those test results with you in case it's needed. Don't travel if you test positive for COVID-19. Check travel restrictions before you go and continue to take the same health measures. Wear a mask, avoid crowds, stay at least 6 feet away from others, and wash your hands. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
So it may be smarter to stay indoors for a staycation.
You know, I was actually thinking the same thing. Let's go over to our weather anchor, Hannah Gonzalez, to see if we can see any sunny skies coming up soon. Hannah?
Thanks, guys. We did see some cloudy weather today, but we still sat at 70 degrees here in Denton. Did feel a bit cooler at 67 due to those southern winds coming at 13 miles per hour. Now those winds will pick up if we look at tonight's conditions. It will go all the way up to 15 miles per hour and temperatures will drop a bit at 68. Now moving into tomorrow's conditions, like I mentioned, the wind speeds are going to continue to pick up. It's still coming from the south at 23 miles per hour. However, despite that, we will see 77 degrees here in Denton. Now I'll talk about the 7-day forecast later on in the show. Back to y'all at the desk.
Thanks, Hannah. Well, if you guys thought last month was very cold, you were not wrong. That's right, last February was the coldest February in over 30 years. The winter season of this year has proved to be more dangerous than ever, with temperatures reaching as cold as -10 degrees Fahrenheit across the country. Many families were left without water and electricity. These numbers have made the winter one of the most deadly for all of Texas, and according to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, the contiguous U.S. temperature, which is the surface's temperature, was on average 30.6 degrees Fahrenheit. Many were stuck inside their homes trying to stay warm. Despite February being a cold month, the winter season was still considered to be one of the top 3 warmest winters that we have had on record. A hearing was held today regarding the City of Denton's lawsuit against ERCOT. The lawsuit was filed in late February and looks to prevent Denton from using public funds for costs of utilities. The City of Denton's Director of Customer Service and Public Affairs, Ryan Adams, said, quote, "Under the Constitution, anytime the city gives money when there is not a public benefit, that is considered a gift, and that is unconstitutional."
And our position is that we cannot pay that because it would be considered a gift because there's not a public benefit coming back to the city or coming back to DME. And under the Texas Constitution, anytime the city gives money when there's not a public benefit, that's considered a gift, and that is unconstitutional.
A motion to transfer the hearing to another part of North Texas has been filed by ERCOT and will be heard on March 23rd.
It's been 2 months since the U.S. Capitol was mobbed by Trump supporters. It was a shocking scene that stunned people here in the United States and around the world. Since then, a massive police investigation has been underway. Tonight, ntTV's Andrew Fancher has more on the investigation and the Texas connection. Andrew?
That's right, Kayla. The riot was encouraged by the former president during his Save America rally. The proceedings left 5 dead, 140 injured, and an ongoing national manhunt. The FBI has identified over 500 conspirators across the country, arresting 280 people in 42 different states. Now, over 25 Texans are facing charges in connections to the riot. Arrests have been made all across the state, with at least 10 in North Texas alone. Now, a Colony man is facing one of the worst charges yet, assaulting Capitol Police with a deadly weapon. Daniel Ray Caldwell was arrested last month and indicted last week for spraying an orange mist towards a Capitol barricade. On trial, he admitted to spraying 15 officers during the riot. And despite a thorough search of Caldwell's home, police did not identify the mist. That's all on the FBI manhunt. Back to y'all at the studio.
Thank you, Andy. After several delays, George Floyd's trial began. We have the updates.
And just in time for your spring break plans, ntTV's Nomi Sanchez will give us an alternative to the beach. Stay tuned.
Current federal policy on sex and gender discrimination and violence in schools is up for extensive review. This issue has been politically sensitive since the Obama administration. The Trump administration swept many of those rules aside, and as observers said the rules now favored the accused over the victims. The new efforts by the Biden administration is focused on a middle ground. An official with the American Council on Education says the goal is to treat both sides fairly and equally. Jury selection started today in the trial of former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin. After the death of George Floyd, global outrage demands for a change on race and policing. Camilla Burnell is in Minneapolis with highlights from the courtroom.
Good morning, members of the jury panel.
Derek Chauvin, wearing a gray suit and black mask, sits next to his defense attorney taking notes as potential jurors for his trial are questioned.
Did you see a video of Mr. Floyd being arrested by the Minneapolis Police Department?
Oh, yes.
Video of George Floyd's arrest shows Chauvin, then a Minneapolis police officer, with his knee on Floyd's neck for nearly 8 minutes. Floyd's death led to widespread protests against police brutality and racism. Chauvin was fired and charged with second-degree unintentional murder and second-degree manslaughter, to which he has pleaded not guilty.
However, during trial, charges in the normal course might be added to or subtracted from these charges.
This including a charge of third-degree murder that the prosecution hopes to get reinstated. The defense filing a petition with the state Supreme Court to keep the current charges. But as higher courts work through the charges, the trial judge and lawyers attempt to find impartial jurors.
I don't know that I can promise impartiality.
I'm going to excuse you from this case.
You made a decision already.
Yes.
You are released from your jury service.
12 jurors and 4 alternates need to be seated before the trial begins.
Juror number 2, you will be on this jury.
The process is expected to take up to 3 weeks. In Minneapolis, I'm Camila Burnell.
The Eyes of Texas, the school song for the University of Texas, will stand and has no racist intent. That is the conclusion of a long-awaited report commissioned by UT officials. The issue surfaced when football players and other athletes asked the school to drop the song. The report was concluded that it was written in a racist era, but the message is one of accountability, not racism. The song will continue to be played, but athletes and band members will not be required to sing or perform it.
Nathan, this past weekend had me ready for spring.
Oh, I know. I was hoping for more of those 75 and sunny days to head. Let's go to Hannah Gonzalez for the rest of our look across the region. Hannah?
Thanks, guys. If you're just tuning in, we can see Denton right here is still sitting at 70 degrees, along with Decatur, Stephenville down there, and Graham over here, and then Paris is the lowest at 67. Now, zooming out and looking at our state map, we can see Austin right here at 72, and then El Paso is at 75. Now, a wind alert has been announced and will be lifted around tomorrow at 8 p.m. However, the cities being affected by this are the western cities throughout the Panhandle, so I'm not too concerned about Denton. But if we move into the 7-day weekend, we can see on Thursday we will see a 20% chance of rain with a high 78 and a low 64, but then Friday we will see a 50% chance of rain and we will see thunderstorms throughout the afternoon. Saturday we will see a 40% chance of rain with a high of 76 and a low 58, and that rain will stick with us until Sunday. However, starting our work week, the sun will peak out with a high of 71 and a low of 44. That's all I have for weather tonight. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Hannah. Well, Kayla, with spring getting closer, what better way to enjoy the weather than with a nice little spring getaway?
Yes, Nathan, and what better person to tell us about hot travel spots than our own North Texas road trip anchor. Nomi, what do you have for us this week?
Well, guys, you know I always give you places to visit in Texas, but this week is a little different because this time we traveled outside of Texas to a place with lots and lots of sand. Your first guess might be that I'm at the beach, and I guess you could say that, except that here, there is no water. I'm currently standing in the world's largest gypsum dune field with 270 square miles of reach. This, ladies and gentlemen, is New Mexico's White Sands. White Sands National Monument is one of the many wonders of the U.S. With the vast white dunes that move up to 30 feet per year, this desert is dynamic and active. What many people may not know about this place, though, is that the White Sands are surrounded by military bases and are just south of the White Sands Missile Range, where the first atomic bomb, Trinity, was detonated on July 16, 1945. But how exactly did this massive endless sand come to be? 10,000 years ago, this dune was crafted from selenite crystals that gradually eroded from gypsum grains, which were later transported eastward by wind and water. This here explains why the sand is its unique white color. Operating all year long, the White Sands Park is open to the public year-round. With an admission fee of just $25 per vehicle, you can get the chance to explore what the Land of Enchantment is all about. From sledding to walking through the cool sand, this place is a dream to anyone who visits.
My favorite part is how big and open it is. Like, it looks like you're in a different place. It doesn't feel like you're in the U.S. because it just looks like dunes and dunes.
Now let me tell you guys, this place is truly the land of enchantment. I promise you there are no more beautiful sunsets than the ones you experience here. So if you're ever in need of an amazing sight, New Mexico is just the place for you.
Thanks, Naomi. I will be sure to put those sandy beaches, or sands, on my list. Coming up, an update on how construction is going for Denton roads.
And also what Denton Firefighters' new station will look like. Now, we are all aware of the construction around Denton that has made it difficult to even get around campus.
But Kayla, there's some good news. The roads may be getting back to normal quicker than we think. ntTV's David Moreno has more.
Construction, everyone's worst enemy. The cones, the noise, and the blockage make it hard for residents to navigate their way through the city. But for local business owners, it's an even bigger problem that's been going on for too long. Wayne Lacombe, co-owner of Legends Diner, is a business owner on Elm Street who has been struggling at the hands of the ongoing construction, which started back in early January of last year.
So business was good for a couple weeks till people realized we had construction going on down here, and then it went downhill pretty quick. We saw probably from January to March probably a decline of about 50%.
And with that decline, Legends Diner has had to shift and adapt to other services in addition to their own to try and keep customers coming in who avoid driving through Elm Street.
We did as many promotions as we possibly could think of and come up. We also started with the DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub.
Further down the road, another business, Taqueria Tres Carnales, is facing a similar situation.
I don't think we even know our full potential because of the construction. The construction has caused so much hindrance and traffic through here that we don't even know what we're supposed to be until I think the construction's going to be gone.
Either way, both businesses remain hopeful as construction is slated to end spring of this year.
We have definitely been in contact with the city and we're working on different grants and funds available to get.
For ntTV News, I'm David Moreno.
We're having an additional fire station here in Denton.
That's right, Kayla. We'll be having a fully operational fire station for the community. Here's Chris Cordova with the updates.
Thanks, Kayla and Nathan. Fire station number 3, which is located here on the corner of McCormick and Underwood Street, is close to being open and operational. The firefighters officially moved in February 12th. Its previous location has been demolished and turned into a parking lot for the new building, which is scheduled to be completed within the next few months. The new 16,000 square foot facility has the ability to house up to 11 firefighters. One of the station's 3 specialties will include aircraft rescue firefighting. These are the latest updates on the fire station. Back to you at the desk.
The new fire station seems like it's going to be pretty remarkable.
It really does. I'm excited to see the final product of their makeover.
Same here. It's a big week for our UNT basketball team. Let's head over to our sports anchor, Justin Ballou, to see what's ahead. Justin?
Thanks, guys. Stay tuned to see where the UNT basketball team stand in the conference tournaments coming up this week. The UNT soccer team is off to a red-hot start. They kicked off conference play on Sunday and took down Rice 2-1. Brooke Lamp and Brookley Peters scored the 2 goals in the game for the Mean Green. Goalkeeper Kelsey Brand saved 4 out of 5 shots on goal. It was the first time an opponent has scored on UNT all season long. The Mean Green are now 4-0 overall and 1-0 in conference play. Their next match is against La Tech at home on Friday night. And then comes the big one as number 12 Oklahoma State comes into town on Sunday afternoon. Well, there was a lot of excitement building around this UNT soccer team, and they get a chance to knock off a ranked opponent on home turf on Sunday. The UNT women's basketball team ended the regular season on a high note with a 75-66 win over Rice. The Quincy Noble-Nia Boyd duo was on full display in this one. Noble led all scorers with 27 points, while Boyd added 13. The Mean Green end the regular season at 13-6 overall and 10-4 in conference play. They will be a 3 seed in the Conference USA tournament that tipped off earlier today. UNT will take on Old Dominion in round 1 on Wednesday at 11:30. A first-round victory for the Mean Green would then set up a showdown with 2-seeded Charlotte on Thursday. Earlier this week, Quincy Noble became the second player in program history to be named Conference USA First Team All-Conference. Noble stole the show in her first season with the Mean Green, and we will see if she can continue that success in the conference tournament. The UNT men's basketball team fell in both games this weekend against UAB. Javian Hamlet was the lone bright spot this weekend with 35 points in his final 2 games in Denton. Now, there was a lot at stake in the standings coming into this series. The 2 losses leave UNT at 3rd in the division and a 3 seed in the conference tournament. The Mean Green will take on Middle Tennessee in the first round at 9 p.m. on Wednesday night. A win for the Mean Green would give them Old Dominion in the second round on Thursday. A potential matchup between the last 2 conference champions if UNT wins tomorrow night. 2 Mean Green players received accolades for their play this year. Reuben Jones was named Conference USA All-Freshman team, and Javian Hamlet received First Team All-Conference USA accolades. We will see just how far Javian Hamlet can take this Mean Green team in the conference tournament this week. That's all for sports. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you, Justin. Everyone needs a little bit of puppy love, and one group got a little more love than usual.
That's right. Our friends from California were able to make it all happen.
After severe winter weather struck Texas, thousands of pets ended up at shelters. This overflow of animals meant tough times for kennels caring for all these creatures.
They were at risk for euthanasia. When shelters reach that kind of capacity, it's not humane to keep so many animals in a small space.
With a whimper for help, Santa Barbara County Animal Services stepped up to the plate, putting together a team to transport 22 dogs and 1 cat from El Paso.
Taking these animals that are in an area that is not as fortunate as us in terms of animal welfare and be able to find them forever homes was something we just couldn't pass up on.
Taking a 20-hour round trip to Tucson, 2 Care for Paws cars picked up the pups.
I had 14 in my van. Wendy had 9 in hers. It was a little bit noisy at times, but they were great passengers.
The dogs were very calm, got along very well with one another, and the journey went very well.
They arrived in Santa Barbara late Saturday night and are now safe and sound.
So happy. They are all dogs that have been in the shelter system for a long time. Some of them for more than a year.
Thus far, Santa Barbara County Animal Services has received 350 applications for these dogs from Texas, but they're not the only animals in need of homes.
We know that there's going to be some disappointed adopters because we have 22 dogs.
We hope that people realize that there's pets that need homes every day of the week and they don't have to be from Texas.
Up for adoption, these pups are hoping for a new home.
There's nothing like the love of a shelter dog. You know that you're saving them. You can find them good homes.
A Texas Tuesday adoption event is taking place this week at the shelter. In Santa Barbara, I'm News Channel reporter Blake Devine.
That's such a great story. I kind of wish I could adopt a dog right now.
Yeah, I know. That's pretty cute. Well, that's all we have for you guys tonight. Thanks for joining us on ntTV Nightly News.
Join us again tomorrow night at 6 here on North Texas Television.